Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I had an idea for today. September marks the end of summer and the onset of fall. And this is a transition that I think holds both promise and pressure because there's this, mix of nostalgia for summer and anxiety for the looming fall demands, like whether that's work or the holidays or internal expectations. And this time of the year is also September, meaning it's also Self-Improvement Month and National Self-Care Awareness Month, if you did not know that. Yet many of us are feeling overwhelmed by this long list of shoulds of, the shoulds of resetting rather than resourced by rituals. And culturally, I feel like we've lost that innate sense of a September fresh start, okay? Like this back to school energy. And instead, we've replaced it with hustle. Research shows, however, that temporal landmarks like new months can really reset motivation beautifully if it's paired with self-compassion. So that's what I want this episode to do, okay? I want it to help you reclaim September as a fresh start that is rooted in self-compassion, not pressure. And I want to offer you an empowering counter narrative here. Instead of rushing into productivity, what if we created a compassionate launch pad? Okay, hear me out. A little soft relaunch, if you will. And we're going to explore today how to re-anchor ourselves, ease into routines and tend to seasonal emotional shifts. And all of this, start the fall season with compassion, basically, not with force. And this year, I was just looking at my calendar, the first day of autumn is September 22nd. We are going to be, that is a Monday, as you may well know, new episodes of Dreamed It Then Real Lifed It come out every Monday. However, I wanted to not wait until the first day of fall to do this episode. I'm thinking, let's talk about it a little early because September arrives with the weight of expectations. I know it does, at new routines, fresh energy, lofty goals, okay? And for many of us, like I said earlier, it awakens that old back to school mix of excitement and dread. I have two daughters who are both in high school as of this year. And yeah, there was that excitement, dread, right? Because it was oh man, summer's over. They were kind of dreading having to not enjoy their summer anymore. Not so much they were dreading school, but then there's also that excitement of a new school year and your friends and all of that stuff too. So, and you may remember this too. And whether maybe it's nostalgia, I don't know. Maybe it's self-criticism sneaking in through the fall door, or whatever it may be for you. But we have been trained to treat September like a mini new year, to set intentions and become better versions of ourselves overnight, kind of ignoring that life doesn't reboot like that. right? Psychologically, the fresh start effect does work, okay? But only when self-kindness leads the charge. So otherwise, it becomes self-imposed pressure. Now, let's talk about emotional fallouts like summer ending blues, okay? The regret over like wasted summer days. Oh man, summer's over. I wasted all those days. I didn't do all that stuff I coulda, shoulda, woulda wanted to do. Or maybe it's creeping anxiety about the impending holiday pace. Guys, this is real and it's valid, okay? So talking about it now, bringing our awareness to it now, coming up with a plan, getting some systems in place now is a really good idea. So what if we reframe September, not as another deadline, but as this temple for self-care and reflection? Okay, what could shift inside of that? Let your imagination run wild. Remember, I just told you September is self-improvement month. It's self-care awareness month. So I really want you to lean into that, okay? Lean into that and ask yourself what could shift inside of that. If I really and truly reframe September and it was this like temple for self-care and reflection. So before you sprint into autumn, want to invite you to slow down long enough to feel what's bubbling up. Is it excitation? Is it nerve? Is it overwhelm? I don't know. What is it? And I want you to choose your September consciously, okay? Self-compassion is one reset ritual you can use, or you can use it as a reset ritual. We don't need more productivity hacks. We need internal reset rituals, ones that are fueled by self-love and not self-pressure. How would it feel to start your September with one self-compassion ceremony, like journaling? What I gently release, ... instead of another to-do list. Okay, how would that feel? What I gently release. You can do this, by the way. Self-compassion isn't soft. It's smart. You want to honor your humanness so that you can show up sustainably. Okay, this doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook. That's not what self-compassion is. Okay, it's honoring your humanness though, so that you can show up sustainably. Meaning you have to honor, like, we're human. We ebb, we flow, we have ups and we down. We can't be 100% of the time. We're not designed that way, and it's not. You may be able to do that for a short amount of time, but it's not sustainable. And so that's what I'm saying. That's what self-compassion, that's what we're talking about. Begin with the basics, okay? Map your emotional energy. So do your mornings spark ease or dread? Is your to-do list a list of possibilities, or does it feel like prison bars? You just need to do some assessing here. Begin with the basics, okay? Figure out where your energy is with all this stuff. And small shifts matter. Like, pause to ask, what do I need today? Not what does the world need from you? What does your family need from you? What does your job need from you? What do I need today? And then do that. Okay, do it. Self-compassion is your internal reset button, and it rewires how you show up, how you pace, how you trust yourself. And not by changing your plans, but how you hold yourself while you're living them. I want to share with you some practical softeners for this season's shift. Okay, let's build the toolbox. These are like, I want you to ask, what are some simple shifts that you can make to transition into fall with ease and alignment? And then which of these, and guys, simple. I mean, truly, we're talking simple. Practical. We want to experience a shift this season. We do not want to be in the hustle mode, the feeling like there's not enough hours, just all of those things, okay? And you deserve this. So let's see what we can do. Light and movement. One thing that's about to happen is the days are going to start shortening, okay? Chasing the sunlight, boost your serotonin, which is good for your mood. And meeting your body with movement is mood medicine too. So, I always say, I don't chase, I attract. And we're all about, we do not want the chasing energy, but I do. There's one thing I do chase at sunsets. I will tell you that. I will be in my car traveling or just even in town, and I will see a good sunset and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get to a place. This is when I'm in my car, I've got to get to a place with a good opening so I can enjoy an unobstructed view of the sunset. So I actually do chase sunsets. But this is what I was going to say. So light and movement, right? So the days are going to get shorter. The sunlight's important, guys. It is good for your mood, and your body needs that vitamin D. And then also, again, mood medicine, moving your body. Habit resurrection with compassion. So maybe summer left you off of routine, okay? But instead of guilt tripping yourself back, which sometimes we tend to do, that's more of an inner critic running the show, you're going to ease into rituals. Black tea and journaling instead of speed cleaning is like the vibe, okay? So I know I kind of say that had this conversation with my sister at the end of the school year. Last year was just that, I have my routine when the girls are in school. And now that school's ending and it's summer's here, it's like, oh my gosh, now I've got to find a new routine, like a new summer routine. Because my routine, it's different. Their hours are different. They're not in school. One of them's working, right? It's different, and they don't drive. So I'm a teenage chauffeur, and just all of these things, like always driving them around, which I love to do because I enjoy being in the car with them and all of the things. What I'm saying is this: I had a different routine during the summer, and so now that school's back in session last week, we've been, or however many weeks by the time this comes out, it's the same thing, right? That it's a new routine. And that's what I'm inviting you to do as well. Habit resurrection, right? Maybe some of your old routines that they fell away during this summer, well, let's resurrect them. Let's bring them back. And not from this place of like, shame on me. I didn't do that all summer. Shame off me. And compassion, guys, compassion. So another way we can soften for this shift is play. Play is medicine. When overwhelm hits, allow delight. Not as procrastination, okay, but as nourishment. And maybe novelty is what is going to turn your joy on again. So don't resist this. Allow yourself to play. And then micro rewards are always great. Celebrate the small acts, okay? Affirming a boundary, hey, celebrate, do something that makes you happy, that brings you joy. Saying no kindly, Maybe you take a spa bath. I don't know. Reward yourself for self-loving decisions. Okay? These aren't checkbox tactics that I was just suggesting. Okay? They're energetic oils for your nervous system. And you can let small ease givers anchor your shift, so clarity and ease will unfurl gently and not forcefully. And really, we are all about the gently here. Navigating emotional fallbacks with grace is something else that I want to touch on, because September doesn't always feel like rebirth. Sometimes it triggers grief. It's the loss of summer. There's nostalgia. There's fears of not enough. We can reframe fall anxiety through reflection, though. What regrets or expectations are festering? And how would treating them with kindness change the narrative? Gratitude isn't dismissing pain. It is a soft pause, naming what you feel, even the ache, okay? That calms your nervous system. And you can pause and you can ask, what do I forgive myself for forgetting this summer? And then allow a soft answer. And even if it's, I forgot to rest, well, that's okay. And that is okay. Reparent the September kid inside of you. So the one who still carries that school start nerves that I was talking about. Even as an adult, you deserve gentler gentleness. Okay, so self-compassion is not denial, it is reclamation. And if your inner child feels overwhelmed, you're the grown-up who gets to comfort them, not push harder. It's one thing to talk about rituals, but let's anchor it in the month, okay? I want to craft a self-love September calendar together. Now, week 1 is reflect and release. And this is basically journaling what you are choosing to leave behind from August. Now, this episode is launching on September 8th, which is officially the second Monday in September. It started last Monday. So week 1 has passed officially. However, it's not too late to do this. You can still journal what you're choosing to leave behind from August. And then week 2, reclaim rituals. This is day 1 of week 2. Today, if you're listening on the day this drops. I want you to pick 2 small non-negotiables. For instance, a 10-minute breath work and check in with yourself, or a meditation, or whatever it is that you want it to be. And then reclaim them. So you're going to 2 small non-negotiables, 2 rituals that you were doing that just summer you may have for whatever reason, and it doesn't even matter, and there's no judgment. You got out the habit. Well, you're going to reclaim those. I want you to define what those are. And then this week, starting week 2 is whatever day you're listening to this, that's the day you start. Go. Now, week 3, radiate by adding 1 playful act, whether that is dancing in your living room, writing a silly love letter to yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. karaokeing, okay? But add it. And then week 4 is root and reassess. So you're going to celebrate what shifted and ask, what self-love am I building for October? And here's a little bonus reminder, guys. If you dip back into self-criticism, the calendar is self-love, not self-judgment, okay? Adjust, don't abandon. And look, a calendar isn't an obligation. It's an ally. You got to look at it that way. And by turning September into a month of kindness for yourself, you will really set this tender and magnetic tone for the rest of your year. And the year, I mean, it's coming to an end, right? It's already, well, it's towards the end. We're closer to the end than we're not. And September can be a fresh start, not by force, but through softness and self-reflection and through quiet action, I would say. Like, we're reclaiming that September glow, but it's not going to be from hustle. It is going to be from wholehearted, grounded self-love. And if you're ready to let this be the season where your glow becomes a lifestyle, not just a plan, Self-Love Uni is here to walk beside you and anchor what's soulful and transform those ideas into embodied practice. You can find out more information by visiting whatchawant.us/discover Self-Love Uni. And I'll also have it linked in the show notes. Let's keep going. I want to talk about reclaiming joy in the midst of pressure. And the myth of I will be happy when. I used to say this a lot. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when. Back when I was married, and I've shared this before in one of the first 1 or 2 episodes, which if you haven't ever tuned into those, I really recommend you tuning into those. But one of the biggest joy killers is the trap of conditional happiness and the stories we tell ourselves that joy can only come after we hit the goal, after the stress is over, after the life looks exactly the way that we want it. The truth, that moment almost never arrives the way that we imagine. And if we keep postponing joy, we train our nervous system to associate happiness with scarcity and with the finish line that always moves further away. Okay, so joy doesn't live in someday. It lives in the micro moments of right now. That sip of tea, the breath that you take between tasks, the smile exchanged with a stranger. These moments, guys, joy lives in all of these moments. So when the voice says, I'll be happy when, try flipping it, okay? What tiny piece of happiness can I welcome in now, even in the middle of all this pressure? That is how joy stops being a distant destination and it becomes a daily practice. You can also borrow joy from the future. Sometimes joy feels impossible in the present moment. Okay, the weight is too heavy and the pressure is too loud. And it's like, what joy, right? Like, that is unrealistic, is what you're thinking. Well, that is when we can borrow joy from the future. So imagine your future self 6 months or a year from now, looking back on this season. They made it through. They grew stronger. They discovered things about themselves that only pressure could teach them. Can you feel even a fraction of the gratitude and joy they will feel? If so, pull that into the now. Borrow it, okay? Let it anchor you in possibility instead of drowning you in present heaviness. You don't have to fake joy. You can borrow it from the self who already knows that you made it through. Let that sink in. There is the joy threshold. We often think of joy as unlimited, but the truth is that many of us secretly have a joy threshold, okay? And this is a point beyond which we feel uncomfortable experiencing more joy. So if we go beyond this point, we're actually uncomfortable. Like, I'm not supposed to be this happy. I'm too happy. You're uncomfortable. And why is that? Well, it's because we have been conditioned to expect the other shoe to drop, or we have absorbed messages that too much joy is indulgent or irresponsible or naive or whatever the case may be. And this subconscious ceiling is actually keeping us from savoring the sweetness that's available right now, like right now. And part of reclaiming joy under pressure is raising your threshold. In other words, letting yourself feel more joy than you have been taught to allow. Okay? So practice staying with it, breathing into it, and realizing joy doesn't make you fragile. It makes you resilient. Let me share a little story. Imagine a carpenter who spends all day building heavy furniture, okay? And he's tired and his body aches and he feels buried under the weight of it all. And then one night, someone gifts him a small lamp. And at first he dismisses it. He's like, I don't need light. I need rest. But when he finally lights it, he sees his workshop in a new way. The wood isn't just heavy, it's beautiful and it's waiting to be transformed. I have a lamp in my living room, and man, it's like when it's night and all the other lights are out and this lamp's turned on, the way that it illuminates everything it does, it makes it feel more magical, okay? In this story that I just shared, though, the lamp doesn't remove the labor, but it changes how he sees the labor. Joy is that lamp. It doesn't erase your responsibilities or pressure, but it illuminates them with meaning and softness and even beauty. And without the lamp, the carpenter just sees exhaustion. With the lamp, he sees creation. Joy is your lamp, and you don't need to wait for the work to be done before you light it. Light it up. In your body, you can use your body as a joy compass. Okay, under pressure, our mind often is going to spin in loops of fear, worry, what if, fear, worry, what if, loop and loop and loop, right? The same thoughts. You're just this narrative. But the body is this compass, and it can point us back toward joy. So notice when you're experiencing joy, even if it's something small like hearing your favorite song, okay? Your body shifts and your shoulders relax and your breath deepens and your heart lifts. So by tracking these sensations, you train yourself to recognize and amplify joy somatically, not just mentally. That means in your body. This helps you access joy even when your thoughts feel too cluttered to like, quote, think positive. Okay. That just may be like, I cannot do that right now. Well, feel it in your body. That's somatic. That's healing. Okay. The body remembers what the mind forgets, and joy is physical. When you feel lost in pressure, you can follow the compass of sensation and it's going to guide you back to your glow. And your glow is still there. Joy does not have to be an individual pursuit. In fact, sometimes the fastest way to reclaim joy is to tap into collective joy. So think of concerts and group laughter and shared meals and community dancing. These are moments where joy moves like a current through everybody all at once, right? Under pressure, our instinct is to isolate. But connection multiplies joy exponentially. So even if it's online, even if it's in small doses, joy shared is joy amplified. Okay. So I want you to remember that joy expands when it is witnessed. If you cannot summon it alone, borrow it from the collective and then let it carry you. So here's the truth I want to leave you with today. When it comes to reclaiming joy in the midst of pressure, pressure will always exist. The deadlines, the responsibilities, the unexpected curveballs. I had about 3 of those yesterday. Oh, Lord, it was something. Look, those don't vanish, okay? But what can shift is the way that you meet them. You don't have to armor up and grind your way through every season of life. You can choose to meet pressure with softness, and you can choose to meet it with presence, and you can choose to meet it with joy. And maybe that feels radical. Because in a culture that glorifies stress and overwork, joy, it's a rebellion. Be a rebel. Joy is resistance. Joy says, I am not defined by what pressed against me or what presses against me, and I am defined by the light that I choose to carry, even here. So the invitation is this. Do not wait until the storm passes to let joy in. Don't make it conditional. Don't postpone it. Let it weave through your day in the smallest and most sacred ways. Really and truly, a deep breath, a laugh, a moment of gratitude for the body that carries you. These are not distractions from real life. They are real life. And if you're listening right now and you're thinking, yes, I want more of this. I want to learn how to anchor myself in joy and self-worth and resilience, no matter what life throws at me. That is exactly why I created Self-Love Uni. Friends, it is not a course where I talk at you. It is an experience where we walk together. It's where you learn the practices that make self-love tangible, not abstract. And it's where you learn to quiet the inner critic and regulate your nervous system and build resilience and create rhythms of joy that actually hold you through the pressure. And self-love It is not, okay, I know self-love is popular and I love that. I do, because I'm your self-love bestie. But guys, I don't want you to view self-love as a buzzword, because it is so much more than a feel-good buzzword. Okay, it is your foundation. It is the thing that allows you to keep shining and keep creating and keep rising in seasons where everything else feels heavy. And guys, we have those seasons. So if this episode resonated, and if some part of you knows it is time to stop postponing joy and start living it, I want you to join me inside of Self-Love Uni. And you don't have to do this work alone. We have built the tools, we have built the community, and now it is just waiting for you. So let's reclaim joy together. Let's make the pressure the place where you rise and not the place where you shrink. You can always go to whatyouwant.us/discover self-love uni. The link is also in the show notes. So you can click on it and join us, and I will meet you inside, because your joy is not optional. It is your birthright, and it is time to claim it. September has your name written all over it. Make the best out of it. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditthenreallifedit.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.